All right, welcome back to the UJ Chevrolet pregame show. Todd Morris with you here on the Bulldog Radio Network, and it's time to sit down with UMS-Wright head football coach Terry Curtis for our weekly pregame interview. And Coach ended up in a shootout last Thursday night. Seems like forever when we played on a Thursday night last week against St. Michael. Came up on the short end of a 35-28 game, but I don't know if we're built for a shootout like that. And everybody, it was like 10 straight possessions. There was a touchdown, and you kept going, who's ever going to have the ball last is going to win it. And then all of a sudden, nobody could score. Well, it was like the fourth quarter, everything the water dried up.
Well, it was. I thought we kept, matter of fact, second half, we never punted a time.
Yep.
But, we drive, get down to the 30 or whatever, then we'd get a personal foul, a holding penalty, just kept on and on and on, back us up. And like we've talked about before, it's tough for us when we're not ahead of the chain. So, it just kept on. It was a very frustrating game.
Yeah.
I mean, they never could actually stop us, but we would stop ourselves by a penalty or something else. I think we had they didn't have a turnover, and I thought the first half, I'm not saying scared, but I thought we was a little bit intimidated and scared of what they could do over the top. I thought the second half we got a lot more aggressive, started coming after them more, and I thought that caused them a few problems.
Yeah.
Like you said, they doing the same thing the second half. We doing the same thing, and it ends up, they only scored 7 points, and that was the first drive of the second half when we were still trying to do the same stuff we've been doing the first half. So.
Yeah, it was interesting. We go into halftime down 7. We come out, they score their first drive, we score our first drive. So it was like, checkmate, playing checkers back and forth, and then boom, the rest of the game, nobody scored. But we drove the ball, we got it into their red zone a couple times, and then, like you said, we'd get backed up, or we couldn't convert a fourth down or whatever. And then you just felt like we just couldn't reach that pinnacle, that one play we needed to, because I think if we'd have tied it up, we'd have went on and won the ball game.
Well, I did too. I thought the second half we had way the best of it, and of course they would get a couple big plays to make us have to go a long field again.
Yeah,
that we would stop them on fourth down, but it would be also down at our 20-yard line or 30-yard line or something like that. So, like I said, it was a very, very frustrating.
And the frustrating part of it too, from a visual standpoint, a lot of penalties on both sides of the game. I think we had 8 penalties. They had 8 penalties. There was over 150 yards, and it was kind of like it went in spurts. If the referees were calling 1, they were calling 4.
Yeah,
and then the ball would go to the other side, and they'd call 3 or 4 on that side.
But ours were all big ones.
Yeah,
I think we end up right at 100-yard penalties, and they end up with like 60 or 55 or something like that. So,
yep, it was just a strange game. But here we are, a 4 seed going into the playoffs, and we've talked about that over the last couple of weeks. We're here. The interesting thing about that is there are a lot of teams that are not here, and we making the playoffs is a big deal. It has been since 1993 that UMS-Wright has not made the playoffs.
Wow.
I mean, think about that. That's a long time. That's a lot of consistency, and it's a big deal to make the playoffs. So, congratulations on that. How are the guys as we get ready for this week's game?
Well, it is, Todd. People, winning nowadays is hard.
Yes, it is.
Especially when you're in competitive balance and multipliers and everything else. You're probably playing up a class and a half.
Yep.
Winning is hard. So to continue, even against the people we're playing against now, and to make the playoffs year in, year out is a big deal. I don't think the kids, the coaches, nor I are happy with our record or whatever. I still think we're a better team than what our record shows. I told the kids yesterday, I said, I promise you, Demopolis is not looking forward to us coming there.
Yeah.
They know our reputation. They know our tradition. They know how we're going to play the game, that being on the road doesn't matter to us. And we've just got to play more consistent, and hopefully we're ready to do that now. Of course, I've been saying that, I know, every week. But and here we are, week 11th game, and I'm still saying the same thing. But we've got to do a better job. Our defense at times have been lights out, but we're not getting a lot of turnovers, in positive positions to change field position. And offensively, we just got to cut out the holdings and the motion penalties that puts us behind the chains.
Demopolis 7-3 on the year, the 1 seed coming out of Region 3, 6-0 in region play. Tell us what we need to know about them. I've watched a little bit of the film, but what do you think?
Well, a normal Demopolis team.
Yep.
They got a big, good running back, and their defensive front and linebackers are really good.
Yep.
They're active. They play downhill, and their front 3 or 4, according if they bring the outside linebacker up, and their 2 linebackers, or they like to play. You can tell. If we can block them a little bit, there's some things we can do. But that's going to be the key to the game if we can block their defensive front. I don't think they're great on offense. The running back has made some big plays. The quarterback is not like we played last week or like some of the other ones we played this year. And we played running backs, Todd, like this one too now.
Yeah.
But he is their bell cow and the guy they go to. So, I'll be surprised if they can score a lot, but we've got to find some stuff that we can do, against them.
And how do you approach it with the players? It's do or die now. If we lose this one, we're done. Everything's over. It's kind of that last minute thing for the seniors. How do you even talk about that with them?
I usually give my big speech on Wednesday after the work's kind of in, and yesterday it was to all of them, whether it's sophomores, juniors, or whatever. And you'll remember this, being an athlete, you always remember that last game.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't care who it's against, sorry team, best team, whatever. And you always remember that last game. Yep. And I said, you want to be able to remember it as a good thing.
Yep.
So you ought to give all-out effort for that last game to be the best game you ever played.
Yep.
Where you can talk. So that was kind of my focus yesterday. And I told him, I said, I remember playing Pensacola High my last game 55 years ago. I threw 5 touchdown passes, ran for 3. They kind of looked at me. I said, guys, I'm kidding about that part. But I said, I'm not kidding, because if you have a good last game, it always gets better than it really was.
That's right. As the years go along, that last game's a good one. Yeah. Nobody will know any different.
I get some guys come back now, and the funny thing, they come back and they were way better than I remember them being.
All right, Coach. Thanks for joining us here on the UJ Chevrolet pregame show. We've enjoyed sitting down with you each and every week. Hopefully, we're doing this again next week. But again, like we said, one and done from here on out. But good luck, and hopefully, we're talking next week.
Well, we've had a good week. We just got to cut out the mistakes. I think the kids are ready to play. They're excited about going to Demopolis, and we pulled a big one last year.
Yep.
A lot of these guys were there, so we can do it. We got to go do it.
All right, that's UMS-Wright head football coach Terry Curtis sitting down with us here on the UJ Chevrolet pregame show. We'll be back in just a minute with the opening kickoff. So remember, you're listening to the Bulldog Radio Network, and tonight we're on News Radio 710 WNTM out of Mobile, an iHeart radio station.